Hi everyone, I'm Jen. I wanted to share some random thoughts now that I've popped my head back out, and let me make myself comfortable. I almost quit. I wanted to retreat and pretend that I no longer knew. It was too mind-blowing. Like I shared in the video called Hamster Wheel, it was just too much to realize that some of the big channels were only now discovering some of the changes that have been so for a while ago. So are they in another reality? Or did I, scoot backwards? Did I get demoted? Or am I here in this reality where people are still learning about this to help them? I just couldn't process it, seeing my, more body changes. And like right now, oh, I'm realizing what you're seeing may not be what I'm seeing. So, that's another weird thing for me is I know reality is fluid. Those of us experiencing the Mandela effect, yeah, we get it. Reality is fluid. The people around us keep changing. And it was just too much. So I didn't want to do this anymore. Last month with, the government had shut down, so there were some weird tweaks with food stamps I receive food stamps for my, yeah, I've got a brain injury, which doesn't help the fact when you say that, hey, don't you remember the fisted thinker? Oh, you have the brain injury, Jen, right? Anyhow, but food stamps were reduced, and then with the weird scheduling with food stamps, anyhow, I only got $35 last month, so I was not doing well. I found out I didn't get certain housing and because of something else, and I was just losing faith with the 3D world. And then with this is not a pity party, it's just an explanation of my spiraling down, but I'm popping back up. And I just it's hard enough when the people in your birth earth reality change, and you meet different versions of them, and as I believe that I'm merging different selves into one, as we are seemingly returning to Pangea. I'm wondering if we are also returning to our one self. And so I was also meeting different versions of those of us in our community. And yeah, that's been happening, but recently it's just been amped up. And I wasn't liking what I was seeing. I had asked for prayers for a friend, and there was no response. And the cricket was too overwhelming for me. The silence was too overwhelming. And there was judgment at the time. There's no judgment now. It's just, it was too much for me. I want the familiar. I think that's why the plan was for me to have this dog and this cat, so that I at least have the familiar with them, because it's just too much. So I wrote a list of things that are on my mind. Yeah, I talked about it on the Hamster Wheel video with Lone Eagle. I was feverish, so I don't know if I really understood it all, but it seemed like he was only now realizing Baja California was not part of the United States. It hasn't been for over a year for me, so I was like, have I been demoted? Am I going back in time? Is the Lone Eagle that I know, in the future, knowing all this stuff, and this one here is, I don't know, I just felt like I was demoted. Or am I back here to help those, the next wave of people? And I get it that, we go in and out. I keep returning to different realities, even here on YouTube. Sometimes it'll have features, and then the next day it won't, even within a day. And then the next day it may return to a feature it used to have. I mean, I don't think that YouTube would truly change that often. I just keep bouncing around. I was tired of bouncing around. I was tired of figuring out my food and shelter, and I have food and shelter, so I don't know why I was freaking out. I'm always provided for somehow. It's just the unsureness and the body changes keep happening, and the sculptor's now doing this with the brain, with the skull, and the lines are no longer just going across, they're now curving around. I'm realizing too that what you see is different than what I see. It was just too much. I wanted to quit. So okay, then this morning I watched Shawn Indigo. He was talking about the body water changes. I haven't checked it for my reality. I don't necessarily, online research it anymore, but wherever he is, and maybe I'm here too because I'm listening to him, body water content for the world is about half and the body is about half. How can that be, I grew up knowing that, or being taught that the world was over 3/4 of it was water, and I believe our body was up to 80%, but that part I can't be all the way sure. But it makes me think that the two numbers of the world, the water in the world and the water in the body, seem connected. They correlate with each other, which as a kid, we know way more as a kid, and then it's unlearned from us once we arrive here. It's untaught, and then now I'm returning, I believe, to knowing that as a kid, anyhow, I'll put it this way, I used to believe that we, the people, and everything here are the world and the universe, and the world and the universe is us. And it's almost like we're all superimposed. How maybe you can you can fold something inside out, but it's the same thing, and it can keep folding and molding, and like a piece of clay, it's just a forever growing Play-Doh, lava lamp, morphing blob of existence, of I am, whether it's the prop, the stages, the costumes, it's all always, this is my latest, or one of my theories, is that I'm very childlike, because Play-Doh, our consciousness is just Play-Doh, and we're in one here now, we're in one place and space, and so how can we have all these different experiences? Well, with every here now, every time someone creates something new, it grows into a different shape, and then it grows into a different shape, and we just continually have the here now ever changing Play-Doh blob, because we are a living existence, a living or A-R-E, or am. And my theory is that, just to put it, I'll just say it's just me, that I am I've said this before, and it caused some people to make rebuttal videos and put me in a negative light, but I still believe this, that we are like a doll, a Play-Doh doll that can wear different costumes. Like I said before, like Eli Whitney. How can Eli Whitney have been a black slave in my reality, and then now he's a white man, the inventor of the cotton gin? Well, it's because there were like a lotus flower, just on a petal, where that part of this Play-Doh blob, the Eli Whitney self, wanted to express himself as a different race. And, you know, to me, what's important is the character, you know, and he wanted to invent something to help humanity. You know, maybe he's an Asian lady in today's reality. It's okay, Delody. And anyhow, so I believe that we are always changing our costumes. And to take it an even weirder step is that I'm also wearing your costume and you're also wearing my costume. We're just not aware of it, the way fingers of a glove may not be aware that they're also a part of one glove. So, it's okay, Delody. There's someone at my door. So then I, hold on. Those are my fish kisses. Okay, so I wanted to, I know I'm rambling, but I'm just trying to get these thoughts across that, that we're always an ever-changing blob of consciousness that's a Play-Doh who wears different doll costumes and genders and races and eras in time, even dimensions. Who knows? Maybe unicorns. Well, yeah, they're in the Bible now. So unicorns and mermaids, and we're just everything and all at the same time, simultaneous. And then I've also talked about, like, you know, those toy viewfinder binoculars with the rotating disc that goes inside. And so my birth earth rotating disc used to have one of the images used to have the lion and the lamb being the two animals that lay together in the Bible in Isaiah 11:6. And then, you know, when the disc was changed, where I'm no longer in the fisted thinker statue world, you know, then it became the wolf laying, being one of the laying animals. And currently I'm in a reality where it's the leopard who is one of the laying animals. So, you know, the rotating, the images within the disc are interchangeable, and we each have different discs, you know, sort of like different lanes in a highway. Okay, so that's part of my theory. Sorry, I'm gonna run out of time. So anyhow, so I do believe that we are the world. So I talked about I almost quit, but I'm back. Pangea, I think we are returning to ourselves. Remember when you could spin the globe and there would, wherever it would stop, there'd always be landmass somewhere on it. When I spin the globe now, of course, you know, we know it's not a globe, it's not even flat earth, it's whatever you want it to be. That's the whole thing. It keeps changing. But those globes, if you spin it, and you can make it so that it's basically all water now. So Shawn Indigo, I don't know how that works with us only having 50% water. That doesn't make sense to me. I'll have to look at a globe later. But okay, so I quit Pangea. We're returning to ourselves. We are the world. I talked about the doll and the toy fingers in the glove. I can't read my smushed writing. All alone. I've been feeling so all alone, and I know each of you have too. It's rare that we may have another person who's popped their head out. It seems like some of us in our community are just, the wave has put you back in the ocean, and you've drifted away from me. Love, light, and awake, I'm gonna miss you. I know you wanted to take a hiatus. You know, even I used to make at least one video a day in this past week or more. I don't know. You know, I was not able to make a video every day. I just, my heart wasn't in it. But I'm back. I'm back because I don't want others to feel alone. And part of my thing about why I think we're alone is that we are like the intersections of a net, like a beautiful glistening silver iridescent safety net. And I think we do take turns being here. I do not believe that each and every one of us who are the points of this safety net, the points of light, I do not believe that we have to see the Mandela effect changes. I believe there are so many earth angels here. It's like, where have you been? I feel like they've wafted down and are quietly holding space for us. They are embracing nature. They are embracing the joys. They are the soft spots in their world. Just Wendt is a perfect example where you just hold the love space. You bring tears to my eyes. There's so many, not enough, but I do believe there are earth angels who have landed here with us. And then I don't know why we have to feel lonely while we're alone, so I wanted to be here with you too. I felt pretty alone as people, you know, ebb and flow in and out of our existence, and the ones that are who are not meant to see the Mandela effect changes, you know, they're not meant to see. Maybe they've got different jobs. Oh, Allison Coe, that's the one I wanted to say as well. That's what I couldn't read. Is like a year ago or so, I'm losing track of time. She talked about how there was going to be a wave. She also talked about how everything was going to be like powerful with colors. And, you know, some of us like Texas Danny, you're only now seeing that, you know, the world is in high definition. It's like it's been colorized, you know, in pow. That's been like that for a year with me or whatever. So, you know, I'm glad you're seeing it, and hopefully more and more of you are seeing this. I thought you all were seeing it too. Which is ridiculous. I should get it. Reality is fluid for each and every one of us as well. Just know that this exists. This is a very rainbow colorful place, as difficult as it can be sometimes. I think it's because, again, it's that Play-Doh going in and out, so it's the 3D life and then also the 5D, and I'm just using terminology from other people, which I shouldn't. It's just like my world was muted, almost like a black and white that's been colorized, you know, with pastels, and then now it's like boom, boom, boom. It's very colorful. Allison Coe, sorry. I've got a few more minutes before storage runs out. Is Allison, you talked about, you know, the wave was going to come and people were not going to know what to do, and they were going to, if they could not handle it, that they would be taken to these, I don't know how you put it, like dome ships or something. I've personally been in a, I know this is even more out there, warning, I've been in a seemingly non-terrestrial building with curved walls. I was like in a sort of pie-shaped room, but with non-terrestrials. But I am believing, looking at our body changes, that what I used to think as ETs, that they are actually our future selves. So again, time is not linear. It's this Play-Doh that keeps turning into each other. So I believe that our future selves are trying to continuing to help us. Anyhow, she talked about, Allison Coe talked about, what is that, QHHT? I don't know what it is, those letters, but it's a hypnosis where you can get more in touch with I believe, the all-knowing subconscious of our essence, even if it's fractualized. I make up words because I don't have vocabulary for this. But and she was, she was getting messages that the people who could not handle that this was all too much for them, that they get to go to these dome buildings and go to, spa, aromatherapy, and get updated, and they don't, and then she was asking, well, what happens to their bodies? Well, their bodies would still be here. Is that what these NPCs are? You be kind to these NPCs. They're just playing a part. Oh, this part, I don't know if you missed this video, but oh my gosh, I firmly, oh, I'm all tangled up. I firmly believe that, that we do pop in and out of our, these vessels, okay? And so, sort of like my Emmy mate says, the creek behind his home, are there fish there when he's not bringing out his fishing pole, or do they only appear when he brings out his fishing pole? I believe that. I believe that different parts of our one glove consciousness hops into some of these vessels that are literally just holding space. The vessels, human costumes, are just holding space. It's not that they don't have a soul. Sorry. It's not that they don't have a soul. It's that they're temporarily dipping in and out, or just being the background characters, as Dolores Cannon says. And, okay, so I've already shared this, but it's so funny. I do believe that these characters are in my life. They're real, just as real as I am, or unreal as I am. But, I was at a store. I needed, help, with this one product. I was in an aisle. This guy was helping me. When I walked in the store, there was at least, I don't know, maybe half a dozen workers that I could see. And then in the middle of it, this guy didn't know something about ants having wings, which I never heard of that. That's a new thing for me. Is it a Mandela effect? I don't know. I'm not an ant expert. It's just, since he was an ant expert, at least the one that was chosen to help me with my questions, he's like, ants with wings. And so I thought, maybe he sees the Mandela. Look at my hair, it's a mess. Anyhow, you guys are used to this. But he sees, so I was just wondering if he was one of those, we don't exactly talk about this and announce ourselves. I am affected by the Mandela effect, except for me. But most of us go around quietly, not talking to people about it. And I thought, what if he is one of us who sees? And so I said, hey, I've got this weird hobby where we also talk about things we didn't know about. It's called the Mandela effect. And I'm waiting for a response. Anyhow, he was interested, but I could tell by his anyhow, their physical, it doesn't matter. I could tell that he was one of them that were not supposed to know about the Mandela effect, but his mouth was saying, tell me more. So that was confusing. So I told him more, but then we were interrupted. There was some yelling by some customers up front saying, hey, we need a cashier. So he excused himself, went to the end of the aisle, and anyhow, I ended up joining. It turns out all the workers disappeared. So it's almost like the director of this play that we're in, and we're the director too, and the producer probably, or co-producer, is it removed all the other workers so that the person I was ready to tell more about the Mandela effect, who was not supposed to know, was removed from the scene that I was ready to start. Scene, SCENE, in a play. And then so it's like, oh, he's not meant to know. Of course, you know, he's going to be removed from the situation. And so I got in line behind the two customers. One of the customers had stepped away looking at some items on the side. So really it was only the first customer, who was really tall and broad-shouldered. And now I realize he was typecasted physically typecasted for the role. And so all I wanted to do was just finish the conversation, and I wanted to look beyond that first customer to the who's now the cashier. The guy that was helping me is now the cashier because there are no other workers around. And I just wanted to say, well, you know, that club I was just welcoming you into, um, not all of us are supposed to, be aware of it. And I think, interruptions happen for a reason. Whatever, I was going to say something like that. And every time I started talking, the customer in front of me, the tall guy with the broad shoulders, his back is to me, but he kept, every time I'd look to the left, he literally physically shift, pun intended, shift to the left. And so I kept not being able, and then he'd shift to the right when I'd shift to the right, and we kept doing this back and forth dance. And again, his back and head are turned towards the cashier, not not facing me, but magically he kept blocking me. And then I realized I'm in a